So hi all, good evening. Today I, analyst Shankar, have another session lined up and we have another guest. Today we will all discuss about SaaS, how it emerged, how is it changing and the forward outlook. I am joined by Abhijit and would request him to take the stage and introduce him to the guest. So Abhijit, the stage is yours.
Hey, hi, Anku. Thanks for having me here. I myself Abhijit Dey, and I'm from India. I work my predominantly my entire career. I've spent over technology companies, over banks. Right now, I'm working in a bank, and so in my current capacity, in a very individual way. Personally, I'm a product evangelist. I love to explore products. I love to explore new technologies. Right. Um, After 6 or 7 p.m., most of my time I spend over LinkedIn, right? I love
Nice.
to explore new things, right?
Right,
So
right.
this is how it is. Let's explore for next few minutes that what we can learn or we can exchange.
Sure. Thanks, Abhijit. I also track this digital engineering space and spent significant time on LinkedIn. So I believe we will have significant synergies to talk about for the next couple of minutes, right?
Yep.
So for the understanding of my guest, in October I had covered in my blog at House of Analyst Anchor and coverage on LinkedIn as well about how uh, Klarna, which is a buy now pay later provider in the space, decided to snap ties with Salesforce and Workday as they would make software modules in-house. This news caught attention of everybody and was announced, I believe, in their in their quarterly earnings call. While AI agents were then also uh, part of the hype, now they have gained significant momentum. And Mr. Nadella coming himself and speaking more about it has uh, put the things even in more limelight. So, but
Mm.
my question is still the same. If Klarna wishes to focus on building these modules built by Salesforce and Workday in-house, who would take care of their core business, that is the underwriting process? And Abhijit, there's no one better who understands the underwriting process better than you. So in this regard, my question is, has SaaS-based outsourcing been plainly about value addition or plainly cost cutting? Because if it is cost cutting, then Klarna is going the right way. But if it's value addition, it might not be going the right way. So how do you see the emergence of SaaS? Is it value addition? Is it cost cutting?
Interesting. Very interesting. See, SaaS, how we see it. If you ask 100 people about SaaS, or if you ask 100 people about the benefit of SaaS, probably the first or second benefits they will say it's about cost cutting,
Okay.
right? But the thing what SaaS actually gave us is that the less dependence, right?
Okay.
If you see, we always have a question about build versus buy, right? One of the I cannot take the name, but one of the very close, I mean not close, I mean a very known person to me. We were discussing few days ago in some international forum that how would you see this thing build versus buy? So now people are saying that first you buy things, then you build over it. That is another new concept coming up, right? So SaaS is not always around your cost cutting. When SaaS
Okay.
came, we need to go back to those time when SaaS actually came into picture, right? Earlier, I mean, probably that time you were in school and I was in college, but those days software used to be very costly, right?
Yeah.
Uh, having a license of a normal Microsoft Office used to cost a lot, right? Then when this concept of SaaS came, right, it started becoming available, right? See, what I personally believe in this entire world, right? This world, if you see around 2500, 20, I mean, 2024 years ago also, and today also, world is always ever evolving. It is changing, and all the changes happen in the world now. It just fits into our human race, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when this software evolution started, if we go back around 15, 16 years or 18 years, right, or maybe 20 years back, that time software used to be very costly. Even a normal Visual Basic EXE
Right,
application used to
right.
be a very costly thing, right? When SaaS came, it started becoming available in our hand. We started thinking beyond cost. We started, I mean, we were able to innovate. I mean, suppose
Mm-hmm.
SaaS is not there or open source was not there, how many innovation would have done, right?
Okay.
It
Yeah.
used to be very difficult. Now, when this SaaS, in last couple of years, if you see, all these open APIs or this open framework came, right? When
Mm-hmm.
organizations are started exposing their tech capabilities beyond a particular framework, right? Beyond a particular gateway. The innovation needed in SaaS was humongous, but that time SaaS didn't, or the platforms didn't innovate that much. And
Mm-hmm.
in the meantime, your AI revolution started. AI
Okay.
is AI was always there. Even when I was in school in 1999, most probably. Uh, yes, Gary Kasparov lost a game with Deep
Mm-hmm.
Blue supercomputer. That was what? That was an AI agent only, right?
Right.
But all this new thing happened in last 2 3 years, especially this GNAI, Chat GPT, OpenAI, and all. That has created a new question. That has raised a new question before everyone, that whether SaaS has innovated a lot or innovate enough to fight with this or not, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
the example of Klarna, or the example of, there are many other examples where people are co-building things, right? So that is actually going back to the same point. Buy, then you build, and then you take it over, right? So SaaS, at least in banking or in a very regulated environment, I think SaaS really needs some innovation. Otherwise, just because of cost cutting and all, that will not give SaaS a good roadmap, at least for next 10 years.
Okay. So if I could understand it right, it could be cost cutting when SaaS was not SaaS but software world was new. But
Hmm.
as software world has kind of commoditized in itself, it is important that SaaS plays the role of a value addition aspect, right? Be it
Yes, so
GenAI, be
your
it AI, not
question,
it be. Yeah.
yes, yes. So your question was whether SaaS is cost cutting or value addition. So it started with a cost cutting, but nowadays, at least till today, it is a value addition. But again, there are scenarios, there are use cases where we don't go for SaaS, we just go for the entire application.
Okay.
For example, regulated framework like banking or healthcare and all, where we are okay to spend things, right? We are okay to put it into our cloud. We are okay to put that entire load at us. Because in SaaS, there is always a question of security lies, right?
Right.
Because it's more in a shared, right? So it's value addition to some extent, but what I'm pointing here, that neither this cost cutting thing nor this value addition thing will give a better roadmap or good roadmap for SaaS for next 10 years, because the coming days SaaS has a huge uh, competition coming up, which is AI, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
till date it is good, right? Cost cutting is not there, but value addition is coming up. But what is coming up here is the competition that SaaS people need to think about it.
Okay. Interesting take. Interesting. My next question is, as you are a veteran banking professional, right? How is SaaS different in banking versus other verticals? So is it just because you mentioned a regulated aspect of one, banking, and second, healthcare? I did work with the healthcare giant a couple of years back, and I did observe uh, significant number of frameworks that need to be followed by professionals who work in the space, and
Mm,
the
mm.
level of data security that is there in the system. Similar kind of thing banking space also observe. But what are some of the aspects, some of the finer nuances that make SaaS companies win in the banking space?
The banking which I have seen in last 7 8 years, uh, banks do prefer application or the entire software over SaaS, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason behind it is, one is that, see, in India or in any geography, regulation or the regulatory frameworks, it changes, right? If
Right.
you see the way digital innovation or transformation happening, right? One thing in last 10 years which is constant is digital transformation and the budget of digital transformation. Every year it is increasing. It's not only because of the zeal for innovation or appetite for innovation. Also, there are many regulatory frameworks also coming up, right? And to
Right.
fit into the regulatory frameworks or the changes, you need to have budget, you need to have your roadmap, right? And you never know when it will come, right? In every 2 months, every 3 months, or in every month also it may come. Now, when you are into SaaS platform, sometimes it becomes very difficult for you and the provider to fit into those frameworks within a very stipulated time. And
Okay.
these are very understand. I mean, we are doing a financial transaction, right? Let's say bank A, it is asked to do something, right, for a particular fund transfer transaction, and the timeline given is 2 days, right? Within 2 days, is your SaaS provider capable enough to make those changes in 2 days or not? Because it's in a shared environment. It's coming as a service, right? It is not as a whole thing that you brought up.
Yeah.
So that one thing will always be there, right? Same thing happens with healthcare. Because uh, see, digital transformation is such a thing that has already impacted all the verticals, all the industries,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Right.
in banking, healthcare, and especially after COVID, right, these are becoming very data rich and regulatory heavy framework, right? So we just cannot wait for our provider to provide the solution in their own sweet time, right? Which SaaS always has a problem. So I think if SaaS has to be there, if SaaS has to sustain in these industries, their turnaround time, and they have to be very flexible. Now,
Okay.
uh, you can say they are becoming flexible also because nowadays everything is being open APIs. The APIs are very standardized API. Documentations are very standardized. I can consume it any moment. There are many business solution integrators we are having who are doing all these things for us, right? But still, that question will always be there, that whether you will be able to match these changes within a stipulated time or not. This is one. Secondly, banking itself is a very complex thing. I mean, if somebody asks me that how bank works, right? I'll say that bank takes money from you and lend it to someone else, and the difference is a revenue,
Yeah.
right? It's not like that simple because there are so many products, so many digital
Right.
payments, journeys, UPIs, and all, right? So your entire architecture itself becomes so complex. Relying on a SaaS platform sometimes it creates a dependence, and nobody wants to have a dependency in your complex architecture, right? So that's why SaaS, if they have to come to this place, right, in this particular space, they have to be very agile about timeline and turnaround time, right? These are the two takes they should think about.
Okay. So as an analyst take, my take would be SaaS has not been able to win trust of the banking professionals. Uh, because as you mentioned, one is latency, trust, reliability. These are some of the factors for which on-prem is being preferred. Maybe in certain spaces, regulatory environment is such that it does not permit SaaS, and at some places it is the trust that is um, causing the trouble. I would again jump back, Abhijit, to the point where we were talking about that SaaS need to play up the game because of these AI agents that are coming in the system. So my take is every industry vertical, so different SaaS companies, they're dedicated SaaS companies that cater to specific verticals, right? I believe there would be certain consolidation in terms of the leaders taking up the stage in each of those verticals. And they would then augment their products with AI and Gen AI. My question is to you, Abhijit, as we have seen with AI and Gen AI using ChatGPT as well, we put in certain input, right? And we ask for certain code. You also provide certain objective. I also provide certain objective. The answer that we get from ChatGPT or from those are largely commoditized, right? There's limited finer set of nuances, differentiated play that comes to the picture. So if each of these SaaS companies, SaaS plus AI that we talk about, how do you think even the leaders will be able to differentiate in the space? Not just banking, you can throw specific light on banking, but how do you think A SaaS provider platform versus B SaaS versus C SaaS would be different? Or would they be looking the same apart from the UI UX incremental changes?
So you know how you understand if a response is AI driven or not. You will see what I personally face. is the biggest challenge with all these OpenAI GPTs. They never say no,
Okay.
right? Every answer they start with absolutely, exactly like this would, right?
Right.
And they will never say no. I mean, as of now, I haven't. I tried with many questions, right? But I always got the answer, right? So this is not generative. A generative thing is that what is generative? If it is too much, very much human alike, a human alike environment should also know how to say no, right? So that is missing in this entire GNAI thing, right? Now, why I'm saying this? Because let's say there are three different SaaS providers, and I have a common ask for all these three providers. I'll pick or I'll evaluate three of them and I'll pick one, right? If everybody is coming up with a solution, right? It is not a generative one. Every solution should have some scope of improvement where I can leverage my further innovation. Innovation doesn't stop. It shouldn't just stop at certain point, right? Now, very recently, I was going through a report. It was a very reputed analyst firm, right? They did it on telcos, and uh, they did some, normally the way they do surveys and all, and the outcome was that the 78% of the cases where the leadership team has got involved into day-to-day things about GenAI implementation, there the success is coming. It means that human touch is required even for a GenAI implementation. Now, these SaaS companies, we should think about, or we should look up to their leaders, how they are creating their environment, right? How less generative they are, right, in their own environment to build this SaaS-based solution. So if a SaaS-based solution provider is saying that, hey, I got AI, someone is saying, no, I got GenAI, someone else is saying, no, I'm having something more than GenAI, right? My evaluation criteria will be that out of three, which one is still having some scope of improvement,
Okay.
right? So if I have a checklist of five, if someone is creating all the five, checking all the 5 points, right? My take will be the four one. Person who is having only the four, because that fifth one is still a scope of improvement, right? So this thing uh, is missing nowadays. Everybody is coming up with same solutions, right? So
Right.
that one thing, to be very honest, it doesn't put much impact, and that actually losing the sense of SaaS these days, right? Probably, I think I have given you the answer, but if you have any, further queries on it, because it's a very interesting question, right? We
So,
can talk over this in an hour.
so I would like to understand more on this aspect. If you can give
Hmm.
certain examples, certain of your uh, banking objective or a micro case that we can take, that this is a specific place where we can inject SaaS. Regulatory approvals are there. SaaS would be helpful. It is reliable. It is trustworthy. And then, what kind of improvement do you think, uh, or incremental or
I
maybe
understood.
disruptive
I understood.
innovation? Yeah.
So normally in the marketing communications and all, right, where when we are doing marketing communications or promotional channels and all, there we can use SaaS platform, right? Because when I'm sending those collaterals or the words or those emails and all, these are already been approved by a regulatory framework. There is a framework,
Yeah.
right, for every content. So
Okay.
in content generation, in content creation, definitely SaaS can work, right? Even the dispatch, that how I'm dispatching the content to my customer, right? There SaaS may work. Uh, Identifying a proper segment. For example, let's say I have 100 customer base, and out of these 100, I need to segmentize them, right? These are the millennials, these are the Gen Z customer, these will be the salary, these are non-salaried, right? So all these
Right.
classifications, it is very difficult and very important, because nowadays the cost of acquisition has increased, right, in the last couple of
Right.
years. So to maintain and reduce your CAC, there are so many segmentations we do, right? Now, when we're doing these segmentations, uh, we need some solid application that can help us to do this, right? Here SaaS applications can work, because all I have to do, I have to feed in with some not data, some process data, right? So it's much more secure in that way. For those synthetic monitorings, debugging and all, right? We can work with the SaaS. But if you ask me whether my core banking will be in SaaS or not, or my entire underwriting will be in SaaS or not, I'll say it's very difficult, right? I mean, that core banking is a nucleus, and every regulatory changes, if you do 100 changes in a year, 90 are in the core, right? So
Right.
you cannot afford to have
So
this.
I
So
do
in such,
understand on the
yeah.
core banking, but on the
Hmm.
underwriting piece, because there are a couple of new age NBFCs
Hmm.
that have been set up on the very aspect of AI based underwriting that has
Hmm.
taken place. So while I know banks have also taken the leap and implemented AI across the underwriting process, but um, how do you see? I have specifically jumped to underwriting, but how do you see underwriting as a space for SaaS? Because because underwriting as a in my understanding, the more the data is, if the data is of high quality, the better the underwriting is. So in that aspect, SaaS might be a better uh, offer to you compared to on-prem solutions. What do you think?
No, I mean, when we say underwriting, right? Underwriting doesn't mean by couple of bureau scores or bureau reports, right? There are so many checks and balances. There are so many rule engines. There are so many scenarios, right? And every organization has their own what do you call own process of underwriting. Not every organization works in the same formula, right?
Right.
So although we talk about few bureau reports and all, but there are so many things on top of that,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed.
There are so many negative, positive transaction checklist, your criminal, if you have any such records or not. All these things are made,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed. Different
Now,
firms
if I,
use different attributes,
yeah,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Now let's say there is a fintech A that has come up with a credit underwriting SaaS-based application, right? The moment I start consuming it, uh, my own rule engine also should be there in that those applications, right?
Right.
Now the moment he puts it there, it become a very customized one for me,
Right.
right? Now let's say I have to make some changes. I again have to be dependent on them, right? It's always better you have it on prem, right? Take their expertise, build it together, put it in your own role, and use it. If you have, see, underwriting is such a thing, and especially nowadays when NPAs are becoming a
Right.
very serious you know point of discussion
Right.
nowadays. We
Especially
all
across
know about
microfinance space, especially across the microfinance space. Yeah.
exactly, and I'm talking completely from the point of view of a bank, right? NBFCs or fintechs or microlending organizations,
Yeah.
how they work. To be very honest, Ankur, I understand it very less, right? But if from bank's point of view, if I see, we have a very huge fiduciary responsibility,
Right.
right? So the moment I am underwriting, the moment the bank underwriting a customer for a particular loan, and if in future that loan gets defaulted or becomes NPA, it is a sole responsibility of the organization who has underwritten it, right? So now, uh, if I have to be that much responsible in this thing, then that entire thing should be in my own purview. It should be in my own premise. It shouldn't be in outside, right? See, we all believe in zero trust policy, but in SaaS, sometimes the zero trust policy is not properly being, monitored or documented, right?
Okay.
So underwriting is one thing which I do personally believe should always be on-prem, and it should always be with the organization.
Okay. Okay. And I did catch your significant phrase where you mentioned that you don't understand how the NBFCs and the microfinances largely work.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make this comment because I have heard this thing coming from a lot of banking professionals like you, and I just make this simple statement that a couple of years back, banks were super interested in knowing which NBFC or microfinance can help them in getting a share of pie from this fast-growing microfinance market. But as we have seen a lot of NPS rising, so maybe we are hearing this phrase a bit more. But yeah, that's how the market
Yeah,
is.
it's true. Yes. See, I always think, I mean, that is my personal view, is that
Right.
it's not only the entire responsibility of the defaulter. He has defaulted. There is no second thought over it. But the person who has given the loan, he also
Right.
has a responsibility, right? You
Right.
should have all the checks and balances. So it's maybe not the 50-50, but 90-10 responsibility share should be there, right? So that's why, I mean, people who are having NPAs and all, I'm not, I mean, that underwriting thing is a very crucial thing, and we just cannot take any chance over it, right?
I agree. And maybe this can give an idea to SaaS leaders. If someone comes to you today and says, I will own up 10% or 15%, I will take that liability in case we fail, then maybe they becomes a super win. In case
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, maybe it's not that simple and flat, but yeah, definitely that will give some little confidence that,
yeah,
yeah, at least that person is, I mean, interested to own it up,
yeah,
right? Because the moment we think about SaaS, now the first thing is cost, right? As I told you. And the some when you know that this is little cost friendly, that means there must be something that is getting compromised. It's a very common phenomena we have, right?
right,
So that
right,
something getting compromised, if I have a very substantial response in front of that, so now that person is owning up, so he will not compromise anything, right? That will give a huge boost to the person who is evaluating this thing.
right, right. I agree. And Abhijit, thanks for your time. We are already at the top of the session limit. I appreciate your views on the different aspects that we discussed, and I believe some of our viewers would be keen to know more about this. They can reach out to me, they can reach out to you across our LinkedIn handles. They can reach out to me, I can guide you towards you. At the same time, I would also request all my viewers to join me across my YouTube channel, across my WhatsApp channel, and connect with me on LinkedIn. It's been a super interesting discussion. My final question was on with respect to banking space, is Abhijit seeing any decline in the spend? And he had covered that in between itself. He knows he can read my mind. So he had that thing already included that there's no significant uh, reduction. On the contrary, he mentioned there's a significant growth that he has observed, and this would be in line with uh, the initiatives taken alongside the government of India for digital transformation that's happening and the broader banking space. So thank you everybody. Thank you for your time, and do comment about what do you think. Is SaaS dead? Is SaaS changing? And finally, any specific comments on underwriting and the banking space? Thank you.